That is what makes Aquarius an interesting, cosmic star, because Aquarius is all about following the rules, doing the right things, but it's also about disrupting the status quo, creating chaos, and creating change at all costs. Through whatever means necessary. Okay? So that's Aquarius in terms of the planets. Now, Aquarius as a zodiac sign is about critical thinking, critical analysis, raised consciousness, and enlightenment. Aquarius rules, the populace. Aquarius rules social media for this reason. And Aquarius rules, communities coming together. Aquarius rules uniqueness. As far as Aquarius' spiritual purpose, they were sent here by their ancestors to push humanity forward. This is why Aquarius is big on treating each other fairly, being good human beings, being kind, treating each other with compassion, because all of us hurt the same way. All of us struggle with the same things. And it's only in coming together and sharing our stories with one another that we can grow. And you can see that in terms of Aquarius ruling social media. You can see that even with TikTok. I don't know about you, and I've mentioned this before, but TikTok has taught me so many things about life that I didn't know before TikTok. So many things that I didn't know. Like, as an example, I learned that the strainer, when you cook spaghetti and you have the strainer that you put in, that you pour the spaghetti in so the water can drain out of it. TikTok has taught me that you're actually supposed to put that on top of your pot, and then just on top of the pot. So you have the pot of boiling noodles, you put the strainer on top of it and just pour the water out. I thought you were supposed to put the strainer in the sink and then pour the noodles in there and then run cold water on it. That's just one example. But so many little things that TikTok has taught me, that it's I was today years old when I learned that this is how this worked. Or bananas. Another thing, TikTok has taught me that you're actually supposed to peel them from the bottom. And this is why the bottom of the banana is softer. So instead of going from the top, flip it upside down, squeeze the bottom, and everything comes neatly down. Because Aquarius is here to share. Aquarius is here to give. Aquarius is here to give everything that they have to humanity so humanity can be better. This is why Aquarius is not about money. Aquarius is not very materialistic. Even for myself, speaking for myself, I have a car that I've been driving for 11 years. Could I buy another car? Yeah. Could I afford another car? Yeah. Do I need another new car? No. Because why? This car is running. It's fine. Is it old? Yes, it is. Is it mine? Yes. I don't have to make any payments on it. It's mine. I own it. So why would I spend money to buy another car when this car is still running? And if somebody wants to look at me and judge my social status based on my car, that's not even the kind of person I want to hang out with. That's not even somebody I want to know. Because if you're the kind of person who thinks that human beings' worth is tied to the things they have and the cars that they have and the money that they have, then you're not my type of person. Then you and I have nothing in common. So by all means, please assume that I'm not worthy. Assume that I am poor, and assume that I'm not somebody worth talking to. Because that's good riddance for me. It's one less person I have to do fake small talk with, So when you're in Aquarius, it's not unusual to do things like that on purpose. And Aquarius, if I'm being honest, we do things like that on purpose because we like to see through people. Because we're very good readers of people's intentions. So we like to do things that go against the grain to evoke reactions in people, because when you do that, the truth will often get revealed about who people really are. Like when Barack Obama was taking Michelle on a date for the first time, she said that he came with a really old car that had a hole inside of the car. And while he was driving her, she could see the road underneath the car. Mind you, he went to Harvard. He was working in a corporate firm, interning there. It's probably not because he could not afford another car, but he probably purposely did that to see what kind of reaction he was going to get out of her if he pulled up with that car. And look at where she is now. If she was a superficial, shallow, insecure woman who thought like her self-worth only came from expensive things, she would have missed out on that ride to have been the very first Black woman to ever live in the White House. How remarkable. So Aquarius doesn't care about the material world. Aquarius doesn't care about material things because Aquarius knows all of us are dying every day. We all are here to do a job, and our sole purpose is making sure we do it before we go. So if you don't have depth and you're not interested in having conversations about how to evolve humanity, Aquarius doesn't really want to be mixing with you because you're a liability. You're not somebody that is inviting progress. Aquarius is not interested about anything except evolution. That's it. If it's not about evolving, it's not about being smarter, if it's not about being better, if it's not about doing things differently so that we can open new possibilities for future generations, then what are we doing? Then everything we're doing is just selfish, okay? So that is the purpose of zodiac sign Aquarius, all right? So at this point, we've talked about the planets. We've talked about the element of air, which is all about giving information, sharing information. And we've talked about the spiritual calling of Aquarius. Now, and then we've also talked about Aquarius's relationship with Sagittarius, which is Gen Z's generation. They're going to play a huge role in this progression. Now, let's talk about the areas of life that I think are going to be changed by Pluto and Aquarius. And then I want to talk about the war bit at the end. Social media is going to change. What's going to happen is that the elite are going to be excluding certain populations from conversations. I'm not sure if you guys have been keeping up with social media, but all of the main platforms are now requiring that people pay to be able to be on their platform to communicate. So there used to be a time when like you could get on social media, MySpace back in the day, and it was free, and YouTube and, Facebook. But now they're asking for people to pay to be able to stay. They're also asking for people to pay to be verified. So now if you want to verify that you're the authentic owner of your account, you have to pay, okay? If you want to use Twitter next year, you're going to have to pay. And Elon Musk is the one that kind of started that, and Facebook followed the lead. And I suspect that's probably going to be the standard for all social media accounts in the future. So what that means is that people that don't have disposable income to be able to participate in global conversations on social media, which is where most news is breaking these days. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but a lot of news now is actually breaking on social media. Because the truth is, we have the power. There's more of us than there is of them. If something is going on, we're going to be able to communicate about that with each other a lot quicker than them because they're busy doing other things, right? So what's going to happen is people are going to be shut out of conversations because remember, whoever controls the media controls the populace. Are you with me? Whoever controls the news station controls the populace because they can frame the conversation. They can present information in a way that is suitable for their political agenda. I remember when the election was going on, the first time Trump was elected, Facebook was allowing a lot of fake news to run wild on their platform. And they were doing very nothing. And a lot of it was like racist and, homophobic, like all of the things that we've worked really hard to get away from as a people. Because these things require that we think, right? Because racism requires that we think. And this is why oftentimes people that are deeply racist are also very deeply not intelligent. Because intelligent humans realize that humans aren't that much different. And the only thing that makes us different is our upbringing. So if you were to take that same person and put them in a different upbringing, in a different environment, they would develop differently. Thinking humans know that. But people who don't like to think and to use their brain like simple answers. So this is why they love putting people in categories. Because if I put you in a category, then I no longer have to activate my brain. I already know the answer. You're Black, you must be stupid. You're a Black woman, you must have 10 kids by 10 different men. You must have several baby daddies, and you must have several children, and you must be on welfare. So that's my narrative about you being a Black woman. So when I meet you, if you don't fit that, it makes me very uncomfortable, because that is not the schema that I have in my head about what a Black woman is. And I don't like how that makes me feel. I don't like that you are challenging this idea that I have about what a Black woman is. So in response to that, instead of elevating, which is what Aquarius would do, what I'm going to do is double down and now project my insecurities onto you. So that's where we come up with these stories about Barack the Magic Negro, because America had never seen a Barack Obama and a Michelle Obama before. You mean to tell me that your name is Michelle and you grew up on the south side of Chicago and you ended up going to law school? You went to Harvard and you graduated from Harvard and you were a senior attorney at your law firm? America was not ready for her. They didn't know what to do with her. They'd never seen her. So if I am a racist person that holds these beliefs about Black women, instead of elevating, I go, something is wrong with her. So then I'll find other ways to insult her. She's a man. She's this. She's that. She's ugly. She's this. She's stupid. She's that. Meanwhile, Michelle's like way smarter than the average person. So much so that Trump's wife like took her speech verbatim and repeated it, right? So that's really what it's about. Facebook was allowing all these racist, sexist, homophobic ads to run rapid. And their whole argument was, this is a free platform, freedom of thought, freedom of speech. Everybody gets to have an opinion. Well, what's going to happen now that only people that can use social media are people that are paying, what that tells me naturally is that people can pay. You see that, right? People can pay for a certain agenda to be pushed to the public. And information can be twisted. And now with AI, you can pretty much manufacture information that is not true and push it out to the public. And what we know is that most people are not critical thinkers. So most people, when they see something, they believe it to be truth. And then they go and they repeat it. Even in the world of astrology, you know, I keep hearing about this, you know, what this CIA study that was done about how most serial killers are, you know, cancers. It's like, what are you guys talking about? The FBI has never done a study on astrology, but people believe it to be true. If I was to ask any of these people to actually show me the study, where was this study published? What scientific article was this study published in? They couldn't. They have no idea. They don't even know how studies are developed. They don't even know how. They don't know anything about any of it. But they've heard it from somebody, and it sounded like it was the truth because he had the FBI in it. So that sounds like a reputable source. And then they just go ahead and repeat it. And everybody talks about it like it's the truth, and it's not. What I suspect over the next 20 years is that there will be more of that. But because Gen Z is going to be in charge, there's going to be more of challenging that as well. So there's going to be, social media is going to be a space that becomes more contentious. And now that these people in power are now owning the conversation, if they decide that they don't like what a person is talking about, they can just mute you. They can eliminate your voice from the conversation. And they can push a narrative that they want to hear. And create a false reality that people actually believe to be true. With Aquarius ruling social media, I'm afraid about that piece of the conversation. But the flip side of it is that I think it's actually going to push people off of the internet, and people are going to actually be mobilized to actually meet in their communities again. I think we're going to go back to the traditional way that all of us used to meet before the internet. And I'm not sure if you guys have noticed now, like people are meeting their online friends. There's this new trend now where people are meeting their online friends for the first time in person. I think this is the future of social media, is that people are going to connect online and get off the internet and connect in person. Okay? I think the purpose of social media in the future is going to be for people to connect so they can actually connect in person. Secondly, I think there's going to be a lot of world tension, a lot of world wars. And I think there are going to be a lot of conversations about borders. And some of that has already started for those of you who watch the news, who read articles about what's going on globally. What's going to be happening is that certain countries are going to lose some parts of themselves, and certain countries are going to have, basically the borders between countries are going to get renegotiated, to put it simply. And if you, bringing it back to the present even, what's happening right now with Ukraine and Russia is essentially what this issue is about. Russia fundamentally believes that part of Ukraine belongs to them, and they're not willing to withdraw until they have it. So Russia has decided that they're going to take part of the Ukraine, and they're not willing to let it go. So that's just one piece of it. So if Russia is actually successful in doing that, and the war ends with Russia having a piece of Ukraine, I see that pattern becoming the norm with countries that don't get along. Because remember, that is how these borders were created in the first place. That is why I'm sitting here in Texas, but this used to belong to Mexico, for those of you who know history. So there's going to be a conversation about that coming back up. Thirdly, I think there's going to be a need for more spiritual connection as all of us go through these world wars and through this tension and through this reality where we no longer know what's real and what's fake, and where people are constantly bickering about what is the truth and what isn't. A lot of people are going to connect to God. A lot of people are going to connect to spirituality. A lot of people are going to go back to their faith, or are going to birth a new faith in themselves, because the tension is rising and it's going to continue to rise. So it's either you plug into God or you go crazy, your choice. Because it's going to be nonsensical, it's going to be relentless, and it's going to be going on for a long time. I suspect there's also going to be more diseases that are coming in the future. And that means that people are going to be more isolated in their homes. With the introduction of AI now, I suspect people are going to be able to get food delivered to them, medications delivered to them. Education is already provided in the home. People are already working in the home. What is the need for people to be outside of the home? What is one thing that people cannot currently do in their home? When you think about it, most of life has already transitioned into the home. I see more of that happening in the future.